The case of the mad Deliveroo rider. For those of you who know and don't know, well, over the last 2 weeks in Speaker's Corner, a lot of speakers and visitors to that side of Hyde Park have been harassed and attacked by an individual. This individual in particular, in what seems to look like a Deliveroo bag or some sort of food delivery company. Well, this individual has been arrested a few times. To cut a long story short, he was first arrested last week, the Sunday before last, for attacking a Jewish visitor at the park. And to give credit where credit is due, the police came and they arrested this individual. And it wasn't just a few officers, they sent about up to a dozen officers that came and arrested him. And they checked, and I think they put something on his mouth actually, to make sure that he wouldn't spit at them or bite at them or whatever. So he's a very, very dangerous individual. Well, this past week, he actually observed him from afar coming into the park. And this was after he was kicked out of the park again. And he was kicked out by 2 police officers for behaving in a very violent and aggressive manner. Now, that happened around early in the day. So around 8 o'clock, I was walking from Marble Arch back into Speaker's Corner. And I see this guy in his big Deliveroo bag walk in to the park. He had a glass of beer on him. I think it was Stella. It was a glass of Stella. How typical. He walks in to the park and then he goes up to a bunch of tourists. I think they were Indian tourists. And he tries to kick one. And then he tries to square off with him. Then he walks into the park like Jaws, like the shark, the great white shark in the film, and how the shark stalks its prey in the sea. Well, this guy was doing a similar thing. He was just walking up to people and clearly looking for a fight or some sort of confrontation, clearly looking to intimidate and scare people. He walks past a Hyde Park's litter collector and he kicks him in the leg. He then walks off and squares off with a Christian preacher and then tries to attack him. Now, as this is going on, he then pulls something out of his bag, and it was a box cutter. Luckily, at the time, the bin man who was attacked earlier went up to a police car and informed him of the situation. So the police came out, and then they came into the area where people usually congregate in Speaker's Corner. And when he saw them arrive, he threw his box cutter away onto the grass. The Christian preacher goes up to the police, tells them what's happened. They come and they arrest this guy. Another visitor in Speaker's Corner, I think a cameraman, he picks up the box cutter, gives it to the police. They arrest this guy. And then they put him in a van and they drive him off and they take him away. Well, given the fact that this Deliveroo driver, and really, in my honest opinion, I think this individual is an undocumented migrant of some sort, because he was arrested last week and for basically an offence that would constitute probably a fray at the very least, or some form of common assault, which probably would end up in some sort of further investigation or possibly even prosecution of this individual. Well, nothing seemed to have happened last week. He was probably just promptly released, and I reckon he was released because the police don't have any way to verify or identify this individual, which leads me to suspect that he definitely is an undocumented migrant. Well, if that's the case, it is possible that despite the fact that he was acting extremely aggressively last week and was carrying an offensive weapon in terms of a box cutter, I wouldn't be surprised if he probably got released again, which means that this, lawyer engineer could be coming back to Speaker's Corner this coming week. And if that's the case, well, all I can say is that people need to be extremely vigilant if they see this guy, and warn people if he comes back into the park, and call the police ASAP, because he's attacked people once, he's attacked them twice, half a dozen times, if not more, and he was carrying an offensive weapon. So this individual clearly has nothing to lose and is clearly very, very dangerous. So the best course of action, if anyone does see him, is to warn others about him and promptly call the police, because he should not be in Speaker's Corner at all. This guy should either be in some sort of detention center or jail. He's very, very, very dangerous. And, I feel it's my duty to inform people about this guy.